Hey, good morning, Inside Edge Network family and friends. I'm Eli Moon, and if you watched last night during the Steelers Ravens watch along, then you saw myself along my bros Rob Rozicki and Double A Anthony Alford going over the Steelers Ravens and watching the Steelers Ravens as the AFC North was decided last night, and the Pittsburgh Steelers did win the division off a Tyler Luke missed field goal. But we're joining you here this morning, not even, what, 12 hours later, here I am with you again. And I'm blessed to be here with you guys. But we have some breaking news out of Berea, Ohio this morning. It broke just a little bit ago. Breaking news: Cleveland Browns fire head coach Kevin Stefanski. Reports coming all along. Waiting to hear from Jimmy Haslam here today, but reports are Browns GM Andrew Berry to stay in 2026 to address this offseason, this draft class, the 2 first-round draft picks, and ultimately see if he can continue to do well off his 2025 draft class, right? So a lot to unpack there. Obviously, the big first thing here, Browns fire head coach Kevin Stefanski. For those just joining us, joining me, I'm used to saying us. I'm Eli Moon. You see me on the main event. You see me producing Real Talk with Papa Moon. But I get to talk to here mano y mano and break down how I really feel about this. Let's start with Kevin Stefanski, right? And we're just moments away from Jimmy Haslam, the Browns owner, going to the podium, addressing the moves here this morning. I mean, big news out of Berea, right? Now, and a lot of people expected this. If you look around social media, you talk to your buddy, you go to the local restaurant, you hear it, is Kevin Stefanski going to be the coach in the 2025 season, right? Or excuse me, the 2026 season, excuse me. And now we have that answer. He's not. And there's a lot of things that you could unpack to how he got here. Is it the handling of the Baker Mayfield situation when they ultimately moved on from Baker Mayfield and brought Deshaun Watson in? He's part of that crew that brought Deshaun Watson in. Is it really as more recent as Dylan Gabriel being in Kevin Stefanski's eyes? He put Dylan Gabriel above Shedeur Sanders talent-wise and being ready for the Cleveland Browns to be their starting quarterback potentially of the future. And we saw how that worked out. So there's just some things, and obviously I want to give my thanks first off to Kevin Stefanski. And I know there'll be a lot of mixed feelings about him, but he is a 2-time coach of the year, something the Cleveland Browns haven't had since they've been back in 1999. They have received a or not received, they got it, but they've earned a playoff win with Kevin Stefanski since he's been the coach of the Cleveland Browns. And for the first time in a long time, this is the first time in 6 seasons, right, that we're going to be talking about the Cleveland Browns having a head coaching search. And I think to give a little bit of credit to Kevin Stefanski is necessary because he has held down some sort of stability. Now, the last 2 seasons, a combined 7 wins, right? Combined, 7, 8 wins for the Cleveland Browns. So, finishing 5-12 this season, just not what you expect, right? When you bring in a guy who's an offensive mind, the offense for most of the year struggles, and we can attribute that to some of the draft classes and offseason additions that Andrew Berry has brought in or failed to bring in. And we can talk about Andrew Berry in a little bit, but just focusing on the field with Kevin Stefanski, it's eventually time for a refresh, and I think that's where we met. Last night we talked on main event. And thanks for those tuning in last night. Thanks for tuning in right now here this morning, starting your morning with us on the Inside Edge Network. But, I think with Kevin Stefanski, right, it gets tough, right? Because you want to just see if he can figure it out again, right? Because he has. He's won Coach of the Year twice. They've been to the playoffs. But eventually you need a refresh. We talk about all these coaches, we talked last night on the main event about Andy Reid, a retread, needed a refresh, and look at all the success he's having now in Kansas City. You talk about some of these guys, that go to different spots and they have success. And, we'll see what happens with Kevin Stefanski. He's going to be one of the hottest coaching candidates on the market, it seems like, with some openings in New York and Tennessee and Atlanta as of last night, relieving Raheem Morris and, just cleaning a house there. So we'll see what happens here. The Browns are back in the hunt for a head coach. If you're just now joining us on the Inside Edge Network, I'm Eli Moon, and we're going to cover this here for quite some time. We're going to take a quick pause here in just a moment. Jimmy Haslam is going to be speaking to the media, going over not only the firing of head coach Kevin Stefanski, but I'd also imagine the decision to retain, it seems like here now, Andrew Berry as the general manager of the Cleveland Browns. Um, we'll have a lot more on that. So I am Eli Moon. I hope you go grab a cup of coffee. I want you to know I haven't even had my cup of coffee. The Cleveland Browns woke all of us up this morning. And yeah, we're going to talk all about that. We might have some guests along the way, from the network. And feel free to chime in. Like I said, started the morning off a little early. So got that down here for you now. Follow the Inside Edge Network on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook, Inside Edge Net. And yeah, go grab a cup of coffee. I think I'm going to grab a donut, a cup of coffee, and I'm going to watch what Jimmy Haslam has to say. And when we come back together, we're going to have a discussion about where do the Browns go from here? Who would you like to see now as the Cleveland Browns' new head coach going into 2026? And more importantly, I think now to discuss with the man that is going to be here in 2026. Do you trust Andrew Berry making the decision for the next head coach of the Cleveland Browns? And also, I think just as important, executing and nailing these two first-round draft picks that the Cleveland Browns have. Again, I'm Eli Moon. This is the Inside Edge Network. Breaking news, Cleveland Browns fire head coach Kevin Stefanski. Andrew Berry, the general manager, expected to stay in 2026, lead this coaching search, and lead the offseason. So we're going to let Jimmy Haslam speak. We'll be right back here with you. Thanks. Well, welcome back, everybody. Eli Moon here, and I am having a heck of a hair day, but not as crazy of a day, I'd say, as the Cleveland Browns. As if you're just joining us, thank you for tuning in this morning with the Inside Edge Network. Breaking news out of Berea this morning: the Cleveland Browns have moved on, have fired head coach Kevin Stefanski. Uh, we heard just recently from Jimmy Haslam, who just took the podium in Berea to discuss with the media. We'll hear some things from Jimmy Haslam and break that down as well. Again, I'm Eli Moon. We will have a potential guest joining us, and I'll leave that up in the air. But yes, breaking news this morning: the Cleveland Browns have decided to move on from Kevin Stefanski. It comes right from their, I'm looking right here on X, on Twitter. They're thanking Kevin Stefanski. He's provided a message. This is the news here, right from the Cleveland Browns. So the other news is that Andrew Berry is going to lead the head coaching search in 2026 for 2026. He's going to have the say, or at least a big say, in who the 2 first-round draft picks will be in April. Lots to unpack. But we got a lot of stuff here to go over. Again, Eli Moon, Inside Edge Network. Make sure you stay tuned in here, not only just now, but as we break this down. It's going to be a long off season, a lot of stuff to talk about with the Browns, Inside Edge Net on all the socials. But yeah, crazy, crazy, crazy. I want to start with this clip from Jimmy Haslam because, you know, we're, as Browns fans, we're used to the fired coach, fired GM, press conference. Thank you for what you did. And we're on to the next. This one's a little different, right? Kevin Stefanski isn't your everyday average post 1999 Cleveland Browns head coach. We talked about it right before Jimmy Haslam went to the podium and we took our pause to grab coffee. And I hope you grabbed a coffee. I hope you grab a donut or whatever you're cooking up. I hope you're having a good breakfast. But we talked about it. The Cleveland Browns, they just there's so much to unpack, but Kevin Stefanski has provided some sort of stability. Whether it's always been pretty, that's not the discussion, right? But the stability in terms of we didn't go into year 3 with Kevin Stefanski wondering who's going to be the head coach. So he gave us some sort of stability. Now the downfalls, you look at them, for me at least, what I would imagine is the handling of Baker Mayfield and then bringing in Deshaun Watson, right? He definitely, you would imagine, had some hand in that, right? Because, it just seemed like Baker and Kevin Stefanski never got along. They bring Deshaun Watson in, it doesn't work. Then you go through this whole quarterback carousel of just trying to get it to work. Injuries. You end up with Joe Flacco leading your 2023 playoff run. And that's a testament to Kevin Stefanski and the roster, but it's also a telltale sign that he didn't know in the Browns front office. That's a different discussion. We'll talk about Berry and Haslam and all that here in a moment. But they didn't know how to read the quarterback room, and it's still an issue today. Granted, everybody who watches Main Event knows I am team Shedeur Sanders. I'm not gonna say he does no wrong on the field, and I'm gonna call it how I see it. If he throws a bad pick, he throws a bad pick. But I think he's proven a lot of I don't know what the word is, but just progress. Like he's shown a lot of progress, Shedeur, and the fact that Dillon Gabriel was drafted in the 3rd round. And more we watch, it seems like that became Kevin Stefanski's guy, right? He wanted it to work. They gave him a stretch. He gets injured. Shedeur gets in, and then obviously the rest plays out. The rest of the season plays the way it plays out, and Shedeur gets a chance to show if he could be that guy in 2026. Now, is he? That's a discussion. I think he's shown enough. The game-winning drive yesterday in Cincinnati, I think that is mixed with a win against Pittsburgh, 2 division rivals. Is it going to be pretty? No, but you look at the roster and the offensive talent. No Judkins, no Fannin yesterday for Shedeur in that offense, and the fact that they got that W is a testament to Andrew Berry in a way, right? Because he's built defensive side of the football to win those types of football games where the Browns don't score 23, 24 points, right? They're grinding it out and getting a victory that way. So a lot of stuff to unpack. I do want to send it to Jimmy Haslam here. We have a few cuts. Just going over, obviously the news of Kevin Stefanski. So this first one is, this clip I'm going to send it to here is Jimmy Haslam, his initial statement. This is on Kevin Stefanski being fired, and just his thoughts on, where the direction the team was going. And I'll let Jimmy Haslam speak here, and we'll be right back in a second.
Everyone, personnel decisions, particularly with people at the top of an organization, are always difficult. And I can tell you, having made a lot of these over the years, that this was as difficult as any we've ever had to make because of the quality of the person involved. Organized, worked hard, navigated our ship for 6 years through the inevitable ups and downs that we face in the NFL. Outstanding father and husband. And I think even you all who are around a lot probably underappreciate how much time we all spend together. And there's nothing more fun than winning an NFL game like we did the last 2 weeks, beating our arch rivals Steelers 2 weeks ago, and then winning yesterday on the last play of the game, and seeing the joy in the locker room. And there's nothing more distasteful than losing an NFL game. And it's finite. You either win or you lose. And Kevin did a lot of good things here over his time period with us. It was an extremely difficult decision we made. And I shouldn't say I have no doubt, I would be highly optimistic Kevin will be a head coach again in the league. Now I want to turn our attention and talk to our fans, okay? And I want you to hear this, okay? First of all, ownership takes full responsibility for where we are. To win 8 games in 2 years is horrible. It's totally unacceptable, okay? And it's not going to continue, okay? And I want the fans to know we are as frustrated as you are. And we hear a lot from our fans, which we actually appreciate. We have great fans. They're extremely passionate, and they deserve better than what they've got in the last 2 years, okay? No, I don't need to say anything else. We are going to give you a better product. Our sole goal here is to be a consistent winner, not make the playoffs in 20 and then make it again in 23, not win 8 games in 2 years. That's not what we're trying to do. That's not acceptable. Our fans deserve better.
So that's Cleveland Browns owner Jimmy Haslam talking about the firing of head coach Kevin Stefanski today. Gives his thoughts and a lot of stuff to unpack there, right? First off, as I kind of said, you can't just say, good, Stefanski's gone. And if you do, I don't think you're looking at the full scope of the situation, because he did provide good times in 6 years. 2 Coach of the Year awards, and he also did get the Browns to the playoffs. I get it. He was sitting at home. When the playoff win happened, that's a playoff win in Kevin Stefanski's record, right? But at the end of the day, Jimmy Haslam does bring up some good points. That 8 wins in the last 2 years is unacceptable. It's not what winning franchises do, right? You don't hear about the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Rob would definitely hammer this point home of continued success. 19 straight years of winning seasons with Mike Tomlin. You don't hear about that. New England, the Patriots have a layoff, a lull period after Tom Brady for a few years. They're now the number 2 seed in the AFC and looking to start off another run here with Drake May and Mike Vrabel. Winning teams have something in common, and we talk about it all the time: stability. And the Cleveland Browns were trying to give that stability to their organization, to the fans, to the city of Cleveland, with Stefanski and Barry. And we talked about it last night on Main Event. It seemed like, and now it's apparent, that Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Barry weren't a package deal. They weren't. And that's shocking. I'm not going to lie. It's very shocking. Because if we're basing this all off of a 2025 draft class, which was phenomenal, Mason Graham, Harold Fannin, Quinshon Judkins. We'll see what happens with Shedeur Sanders. I know that's obviously a very touchy subject, right? It's a subject that gets a lot of people worked up in Cleveland. And the quarterback position has continued to get people in Cleveland, fans in Cleveland, worked up for what are we going on? 27 years now. We had a little stability at quarterback for a moment, and we lost it for whatever reason. We can get into all that another day. We had stability for a moment at the head coaching and GM position. Now we're into a spot this offseason where we have to make sure we absolutely know that Shedeur Sanders is the quarterback going into 2026. And if not, if the Browns don't feel that he's their guy, then they need to find a way to either get somebody in the draft they feel is their guy. Fernando Mendoza's more than likely going number one. It's what it seems like. It's what all signs are pointing to him ending up in Las Vegas. And right now the Jets are in the number 2 position, right? And they don't have a quarterback. So it could be if Dante Moore, Ty Simpson, these guys go out to the draft, he could be one of those guys could be the number 2 pick off the board, right? So if you're the Cleveland Browns, you draft at number 6 in the draft class. You might not even be in position to get one of the top quarterbacks. So now you look at free agency and, you look at some of the top names, Mac Jones is out there. He had a little bit of run in San Francisco. But even saying that, I can't even just bring myself to the reality that we would even roll out a Mac Jones or best free agent available. There's not too many out there that make a ton of sense. But then I have to reel myself back, right? Because we don't know who the head coach of this team is now going into 2026. We don't know how they feel, whoever the head coach is, how they feel about Shedeur Sanders, how they feel about the overarching of the Cleveland Browns team in general. We don't know how they feel, right? And now it's up to the Cleveland Browns organization, and Jimmy has them, and Dee has them, and everybody involved, and Andrew Berry, who, if you're just joining us, Andrew Berry will lead the coaching search. He will lead the 2026 offseason. He will be the general manager for the Cleveland Browns moving forward, continuing his role with the team. But it's going to be a discussion this offseason if the Cleveland Browns can find the guy that likes what we got going on here. There's a lot of great situations out there right now in terms of head coach openings that'll open up. Now, right now, you have Atlanta. We talked about Atlanta last night. They don't necessarily have the quarterback position fixed, right? Or it doesn't seem like it's for sure a lock with Michael Penix and Kirk Cousins, but they have all the talent around, and the defense is gritty. You look at the New York Giants. Jackson Dart, if he can stay out of his own way, he's going to be very, very good in this league. You have Cam Scadaboo. You have Malik Neighbors, who missed most of the year due to injury. You have just a ton of weapons on the offensive side of the football. Wan'Dale Robinson. You have all these options, these opportunities for teams, or for coaches rather, to look at some of these other teams and go, maybe the Cleveland Browns aren't my best option. In the past it would be, well, there's so much to build, but right now you're walking into a situation, if you're a new head coach for the Cleveland Browns, where you're going to have to coexist with general manager Andrew Berry. And track record, history in the NFL shows that more often than not, when the GM and the head coach aren't brought in at the same time together in unity, it usually does not work out, right? So that's the thing too. I mentioned Andrew Berry saved his saved his job, it seems like, by this 2025 draft class. But I'll say this, 2026, this draft and this offseason is the most important offseason in Andrew Berry's tenure. All eyes are on him going into this offseason. There is no dysfunction, and we'll talk about that if there was dysfunction, or there's reports all season of were Stefanski and Berry on the same page. Everybody, that discussion, right? And now we won't have that. Now it's Berry gets to choose his guy, and he has all the calls when it comes to this offseason from a general manager standpoint. So if it doesn't work out, and not to be skeptical, because as a Cleveland Browns fan, I sure hope it works out. I called last night, I talked about it last night in main event. I said, this feels like the unofficial rebuild like the start of the rebuild for the Cleveland Browns. You know, they nailed the 2025 draft class. You see some promise out of these offensive rookies, you know, leading every category on offense. You see on defense, Carson Schlesinger should win Defensive Rookie of the Year, in my opinion, and by a lot of other people's opinions too, right? But this 2026 draft class is going to be so important. 2 first-round draft picks. You have holes on the offensive line. They're getting older. They're injury prone. We just saw the 3rd string center get carted off for the Cleveland Browns yesterday, and we just got to bolster the line. I mean, there's really no fancy words I can say besides they just have to bolster the line. And to be honest, the other big thing is wide receiver. We talked all season about Jerry Jeudy. Could he become wide receiver 1? I'm just hoping he's a wide receiver 2 at this point. But they have to address it, and it falls on Andrew Berry. So we're going to take a quick pause here. Let you take a sip of coffee, go refill it, get your Keurig going. And I have my bro, main event colleague, Rob Rosicki, joining me after the break. Stick around. This is the Inside Edge Network. I am Eli Moon. I am ready to go, like I just talked to you guys about 12 hours ago. So stick around. We'll have Rob joining us after the break, and we'll have more from Jimmy Haslam, more from the Browns, and more from Berea. Stay tuned. Inside Edge Network. Thanks.
No, said he didn't know that you were trading Joe Flacco. How did that happen? Let me say this, and some of you said this is a dysfunctional building. I take huge exception to that. The two of them work just like this, okay? And they talk all the time. Their offices are basically next door to each other. I mean, is there tension in the building? Of course. I mean, this is a hard business, and there's lots of stuff going on. The two of them work together extremely well. Extremely well. Why would the head coach be surprised that it's starting? I can't comment on that one thing, Tony. But if anybody says this is dysfunctional or those two of them did not work well, that's dead wrong.
And welcome back, everybody. I'm not used to usually bringing us back when I got this fella here next to me on the screen, but it is my friend, Rob Rizicki. And Rob, I'm sure you've heard all throughout the morning, the Cleveland Browns have announced they are firing Kevin Stefanski. They are retaining Andrew Berry to lead this 2026 offseason. We talked about it last night. Are they a package deal? Well, the cat's out of the bag. They aren't a package deal. What are your initial thoughts? We just heard from Jimmy Haslam about dysfunction potentially, and if there's just tension, maybe. What do you think?
Yeah, I had a chance to listen to the whole Haslam presser. And by the way, too, for anybody keeping track, Andrew Berry's going to be on in about 2 hours. He is supposed to address the media at 12:30. So
yes,
I'm sure he will have some splaining to do. I was shocked with the vehement defense from Jimmy Haslam on Andrew Berry, specifically on the relationship in general, on the whole situation. This was the most candid we've seen Jimmy with the presser, addressing the fans, the media, whatever here, probably because he had to be.
Yeah.
As the actual change, we all knew it was coming. And I mean, I don't think we were surprised when we found out the news. I think the Browns were pretty set on doing it. I don't think it was a coincidence that it came out at exactly 9 a.m. I think Shefty had it about a minute earlier. But I think we're a little surprised that Andrew Berry is back. He is now leading the head coaching search. I am sure he is going to be starting the season as on the hot seat, and we're going to be doing this whole rigmarole with him again.
Yes.
Kevin Stefanski, I mean, did he mess? Were there a lot of bad decisions, bad play calling, bad quarterbacks? Again, we all went into it last night during the Steelers playoff clinching win. But we all went into the permutations of that.
Yeah.
But he is the scapegoat. If Andrew Berry sticks around, he is the scapegoat. There is no way around that. I mean, he is taking the hit for the whole team. I mean, if the whole notion is we succeed and fail as a team and one guy gets fired in this whole situation, he is the scapegoat. Does he deserve to be? Maybe. I think everybody deserves to go. But Andrew Berry, it looks like, did enough with this draft class because, again, we went into it last night. You really can't point to too much else besides this draft class.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks like he's done enough anyway to get some more time. We don't know if this is going to be a new beginning or if this is just going to be a stay of execution and he has just put this off for 6, 8, 12 months. But we are now in a head coaching search for the Browns, which first time in 6 years. This is kind of weird for us.
That's what I was saying, Rob, before you joined, and thanks for taking some time out of your morning. I know we were just on air not even 12 hours ago now at this point. So, I mean, I just think it's crazy that we did have some sort of consistency. And that's what I was thinking, Kevin Stefanski, because I don't think a lot of people will take the time to thank Kevin Stefanski when it comes down to it. I think they're going to still be in that mindset where, well, what did you do for me lately? But I'm going to embrace that he did win Coach of the Year twice. He did get a playoff win, whether he was at home or not. He got a playoff win for the Cleveland Browns. And I'm going to remember the good times. I'm aware that we needed a refresh. This was the right move. As much as I want to keep telling myself, like, he was cheering last night and they won and felt good. Like I said last night, New Year always makes people feel like this could be but then that's the tricky part about week 18 being in the beginning of the year. But that's a different discussion. The real discussion is what you just said, Andrew Berry, he saved his job. Very clearly, it seems like, by the 2025 draft class. But maybe I'm wrong, Rob. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I think this is the most important Browns draft class in the last 10, 15, maybe 20 years.
Well, we're pretty good at that. Browns draft classes are a lot like WrestleMania main events. This is always the biggest one in history.
Two
But
first-round
no, I
draft
mean,
picks. I mean,
Jimmy Haslam himself said that this is going to be a very important 120 days for the franchise. And I'm assuming that counts free agency, that counts in the draft, of course. So, yeah, I mean, yeah.
It's like the only reason I say that, Rob, because I know we're very good as Browns fans of being like, this is the biggest one yet, right? And we've had some colossal failures. But I just, with everything going on, not even just because of the 2 first-round draft picks, but it's the 2 first-round draft picks coupled with the fact that there's clearly some holes on this team that we need to address. Coupled with, add that, throw in the fact that Kevin Stefanski wasn't a package deal with them, so now it is Andrew Berry's call. I was saying that right before the break. All eyes are on Andrew Berry, and
the pressure's on him.
Yeah, if he doesn't do his job, right, just for a lack of better words, if he doesn't bring the right head coach in that aligns with whatever his philosophy is, and doesn't address the team needs to do the draft and free agency, and we fall on our face, and we're talking about maybe adding another 3 to 4 wins to the total of 8 in the last 2 seasons, then not only does he have to go, but now the Cleveland Browns have set themselves back even further, because this is where you take advantage and the teams that do real well. I was talking about teams like the Steelers, the Patriots, and yeah, they have different ways of getting there. But when they get an opportunity, if the Steelers got an opportunity for 2 first-round draft picks, Rob, I have no doubt that team would execute and get those 2 first-round draft picks as home.
They'd at least get one of them right.
And
they would absolutely.
This is a very, very important year. Very, very important year.
And it's going to go one of 2 ways. Either the Browns are going to be a surprise team next year. They're going to blossom. Whoever's going to be the head coach is going to lead this team in a renaissance. Or they're going to go 4 and whatever again. And everybody's going to get cleaned house. It's going to be a new GM, a new coach, a new everybody. That's what's going to happen. That's one of 2 ways. There's no, hey, we finished 6 and 10, so we like where we're at, and we're going to keep on going with this. No, I mean, like where Andrew Berry's at, I mean, for the lack of a better term, it's shit or get off the pot time for him.
Yeah.
And he better come up with a winner right now. He better come up with a head coach. He better, if it's Shador or other, he better come up with a quarterback, and they better fix the receiver room, and they sure as shit better fix the offensive line.
Yeah. And I just can't think of many times, Rob, where the GM or coach, vice versa, usually it's the GM that seems to stay for the most part when these types of firings and they're not a package deal happen.
Normally GMs get a couple of coaches,
right.
Yeah.
Now, my thing is, how many times can you recall, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but just, off the top of your head, where a GM stays, the coach gets canned, they bring in another one, and it works. I don't ever see that work unless you bring a GM and a head coach in as together.
Not one who's been here this long.
Right.
Like maybe if it's year 1, like, look at like what kind of Sean Payton, maybe I don't know if the GM changed up, but like, Sean Payton comes in, meets Russell Wilson, works with Russell Wilson, gets Russell Wilson out of town. Like if you're there for a year and there's some big changes, I see that. But yeah, I mean, for a tandem that was seen as a package deal for at least 5 of these 6 years, that's kind of weird that, yeah, it's like, hey, we're going to, we're the kids right now in this relationship. Mom and dad just got divorced, and pretty much simultaneously we're bringing in a new stepdad, and just hopefully everything's going to work out just fine. Like,
I hope he's like Will Ferrell though. If we're using the stepdad comparison, I hope he's like Will Ferrell in that in Daddy's Home with him and Mark Wahlberg. If they're going to be the step, I don't know if you ever seen.
Well, actually, what this is actually closer to, and this is, and I am sorry I'm making this reference in 2026 because this might be 60 years old. Do you remember the old Bewitched back in the day? The old black and white. They had a character in there. It was the male lead of the show.
Yeah,
and he was played by Dick Sargent, I believe. No, Dick York. One of the other.
Okay.
Because like the original actor had like health problems after like 3 years, and they didn't bring in a new character. They didn't do anything. They just brought in a new actor and said, okay, this is Samantha's husband. And that's kind of what this looks like it is that we're doing the whole switcheroo thing, and we're just trying to see if this is going to work.
Yeah.
Now, you are right where, typically when you're doing these things to save your job, they very rarely work.
Yeah.
And I don't know who this potential head coach is going to be. There is there is some thought to promoting from within, if that is going to be Jim Schwartz. Do we pick an established name like Mike McCarthy? Do we come up with a young up and comer? And, do we find just whoever's the Tampa Bay offensive coordinator, because Liam Cohen and Dirk Cutter seem to work out pretty well for those teams? But yeah, Dave Canales, rather. I'm sorry. Wow.
Yeah.
I was
like, Dirk Cutter. I was like,
an old reference.
You're good. You're good.
So yeah, like, it's going to be interesting to see where Andrew Berry does go with this, because again, this is going. I know Jimmy said everybody in the organization is going to have a say in this, so on and so forth. But if this doesn't work, it's going to be Andrew Berry who gets shit canned. So this is Andrew Berry's hire. It's going to be weird to see it's going to be fun to see where this goes. Because again, for Jimmy was, we got used to doing this every 18 months or so in Cleveland while Jimmy was an infantile owner here. This has been the first time in 6 years. I mean, we've had 2 presidential elections since all this shit's gone down. So yeah, we're going to have a little bit of fun.
Rob, I am so glad you're joining me here this morning. I hope you have a cup of coffee. I'm a coffee guy. I put a little cream and sugar in it.
Yeah, we got some Cokes here.
I respect it. I had a few of those last night while I was kicking it at the spot, man. I appreciate you hosting us. We have a lot more to talk about, Rob. We're going to break down some more Berry staying in Cleveland. We're going to talk about a little bit about what can we expect this offseason. I do want to let everybody know we have more special guests joining us after a quick little pause. We're going to reset here. I want to remind you also, everybody out there tuning in, starting their morning with us, that we have coverage all day long here on the Inside Edge Network. We're going to do this right now, and then 2 o'clock, take you into the mid of your afternoon. We're going to be talking with Illegal Formation is going to be talking with you. Illegal Formation with Chad and TK, 2 p.m. here on the Inside Edge Network. So not too much longer after we all finish up going over our initial reactions, you'll hear from Chad and TK, Illegal Formation. Great stuff. Excited to hear what those guys have to say. But yeah, Rob, a lot of stuff to unpack. I have a crazy thing to tell you too. Would you believe me if we have another guest?
Well, you just said that 7 seconds ago, so I would think that you possibly.
I know, but you don't listen to me, so I figured I'd say it twice. So,
no, it's fine. It's okay. Broadcasting is listening, so it's okay.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna let him go ahead and get his self situated, get ready to rock. We're gonna take a quick pause. Rob, you might need another Coke Zero. We're gonna come back here. We're gonna hear more from Jimmy Haslam. We're gonna hear more from us, the Inside Edge Network. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning and spending your morning with us. Cleveland Browns, if you're just tuning in, fire head coach Kevin Stefanski.
Yeah, we should probably get that in the whole sign off here. That's a good idea.
Retained general manager Andrew Berry. Stick around with the Inside Edge Net on all socials here and here live with us to hear all the breaking news as we get it here with you. Have a special guest coming up, Side Hustle Wrestling Podcasts and Inside Edge Network talent Kyle Cornell joining us after the break. Stick around.
Thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118 Kevin Stefanski hits the market, the Giants will be the first call that they make. They'll call him. I think he'll get a job like that instantly. So I don't know if he wants out of there. If I were him and I could get the Giants job and I can get a chance to have Jackson Dart instead of what he has there in Cleveland, I'm out. And sometimes it just runs its course a little bit, by the way. Sometimes it gets stale. And the organization has made some bad decisions going back to Deshaun Watson. It's the worst trade in the history of the National Football League, and it's crippled that franchise. And so he didn't, from what I was told, he didn't want that trade made. And so he was saddled with Deshaun Watson as his quarterback. It didn't work. And now they have that mega contract. They gave up all those draft picks, and this is the situation they're in. If I were him, I'd want out of there, and he will get a job like that.
And we're back. Okay. See, I'm not used to being the one in charge of the rodeo all the time, Rob. All right. So, but
yeah, you're fine. You're fine.
Welcome back to the Inside Edge Network. I'm Eli Moon. That's Rob Ruzicki, and that is credit to CBS and Pete Prisco for the information there, the soundbite. You heard him talk about the situation of the Browns. Rob, we're going to talk a lot about the Cleveland Browns, and I'm sure this guy we're about to bring in here has a lot to say about the Cleveland Browns as well. I'd like to bring in Inside Edge Network talent, Side Hustle Wrestling Podcast co-host, Kyle Cornell, now to the stage. Kyle, how we doing, man? Oh, hold on a second. Hold on, we lost it.
There you go. See, you're trying to run the ship, Eli, and you're having some problems here, but it's okay. We appreciate you more.
Too many buttons over here on the mothership, all right? But
listen, I get a text from Double A, our friend, obviously, Anthony Alford, who runs the whole shebang here about, oh, you're off today, so you can just come and talk to the guys. And I feel obligated to come. I'm wearing a Cleveland Browns shirt, for Christ's sake. This is crazy. I don't know what I'm doing.
A very nice handle we can find you at WTF Jimmy.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's already taken, actually.
Listen, we all know how much I love social media, so why not just throw that in there,
Kyle, and I want to open the floor to you and Rob. I've kind of talked for the first 30 to 40 minutes here of us being on air. Just want to get your initial thoughts on the Cleveland Browns. They fire head coach Kevin Stefanski after 6 seasons. A lot of success here, but a lot of recency. Obviously, 8 wins in the last 2 years. And now Andrew Berry going to be the man leading this 2026 offseason. What are your initial thoughts on, overall, right?
Rob, if you want to go first, you can.
I
want the Steeler fan go first.
Well, I got a playoff game to worry about, so
exactly.
That's kind of a thing.
You can't waste your time with this tomfoolery. What are we talking about?
I was saying to Eli coming out of last break was like, we haven't done this in about 6 years, so it's kind of weird. Normally, we were getting pretty good at this about every two or three.
What do I do with my hands? I don't know what to do with my hands.
Dude, it's crazy.
I think everybody knew Stefanski was gone. I think Stefanski deserves to be fired. I don't think anybody's really debating that. I think where the consternation's coming in is why Andrew Berry's still there. If they were a package deal for at least 5 out of 6 years of this whole mess, and the breakup started when Joe Flacco got traded, why is not Andrew Berry also held on to the same standard? Now, we've been saying on our show the last couple of weeks, or at least I've been, that I think this draft class has saved Andrew Berry's ass. But otherwise, I think there's really no other reason to keep him around and while getting rid of Kevin Stefanski. But I think that's the long and short of it anyway.
I think that someone pointed out that Stefanski was hired first, then Andrew Berry came into the job. So the fact that Berry was never truly tied to Stefanski from a standpoint of Stefanski was Berry's guy. Berry was brought in after Stefanski. So now this is giving Andrew Berry his one chance to pull in somebody. And it might be someone who's already in the building. So, we have to consider that, too, at the end of the day as well. Apparently, they love Tommy Reese in Berea. He seems to be locked in that offensive position, I feel. And honestly, Jim Schwartz, if there's been one thing you can pull
I thought you were talking about Bubba Ventrone. I thought you were making him the next guy.
He's in Stefanski's Winnebago in the trunk packed up already like a spare tire. He's out.
They just don't announce him fired. They just just
No,
go with
no.
it.
They
Just
want to
go.
forget.
Well, I
even
think
accept
what
it,
like
yeah.
Bubba Ventrone is to Kevin Stefanski, like Matt Festa is, or is to Stephen Both. They're like, I don't know, like, did he save his life in the war or something? Is there an arranged marriage between their two families? We don't know, but there's just a bond there that cannot be put into words.
No, he's like Freddie Kitchens at OC in North Carolina. They're going to forget he ever existed. I think at this point they're just trying to get rid of him and like, oh, he was never here. What are you talking about?
Dude,
He's-
Freddie
Or Freddie
Kitchens,
Kitchens is the head
man.
coach of this team. So yeah,
Dude,
a lot of
hey,
those jobs.
And the
But-
fact you did know he was actually the OC at North Carolina makes my point for me. Yeah, it was pretty embarrassing. Yeah,
Mhm.
this is
yeah.
it's rough. Like this whole situation is weird. And I don't even know. You could say Barry gets an opportunity now. That, and you're right, Rob. That one draft class saved him, honestly, to keep his job for maybe another year. But if this dude blows, they got 4 picks in the first 3 rounds, and there's going to be some possible movement with some kind of lower level free agents, maybe some linemen they can kind of get for depth. But there's not really like a big guy to go get. Pickens is going to get franchise tagged, so the receiver position is pretty much out the window. You're going to have to draft somebody.
Draft, yeah, that's where that's going
And,
to be.
and is Carnell Tate really a top 5 to 6 pick? I don't know. I mean, and there's not really a lineman that's jumped out yet. That's like,
Yeah.
hey, he should be a top 5 pick. So this is a really weird draft for them too, and it's going to be quirky and odd. And there's guys that are at the end of the draft that I thought were going to be at the top 5. Guys like Kate Klubnik and Drew Allar may not even get drafted.
Right.
So this whole thing's going to be fucking weird. I have no idea what's going on. But Kevin Stefanski is going to have a job and probably do fine somewhere else. Even
Well,
if it
the
is
one-
an OC job, but I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. The one thing I'll say too, Kyle, you bring up about the 2 first-round draft picks, and one thing Andrew Berry has been very good at, I will give him credit, is stockpiling draft picks, knowing how to acquire the draft picks. Now he's
He
got-
gets a lot of them.
Exactly. It's just, besides 2025, he doesn't really, do well with them. But I will say, to your point about Carnell Tate, obviously a disappointing showing in the college football playoff, loss to Miami. You have Jordan Tyson, the brother Jalen Tyson of the Cavaliers, who's standing out too. Mekhi Lemon, some guys that stand out. But it's a conversation where if maybe these guys aren't top 10, like it was discussed a month ago, maybe the Browns look to move back from the 6th position, 6th pick, and get not only receiver but lineman, and maybe get best player available as well. Because to be honest, in my opinion, guys, yes, lineman and receiver stands out, but I still think they need running back depth. I think Dylan Sampson's all right, but I think they should look at that to get a true Kareem Hunt to Quinshon Judkins, Nick Chubb, or whatever. They need a counterpart, right? And I think they need something there. Defense, I think they're fine. I mean, I won't be mad if they added somebody, but we talked yesterday, Kyle, about in a perfect world, if the Browns had everything else figured out, Ruben Bain would be the pick out of Miami.
That's the dude I'm going for. If I'm the Browns and even trading down at that rate, putting him next to Myles Garrett, you got the heir apparent, and you got a wrecking crew for a couple of years, and you might win games 10-7.
Now, there's no guarantee he's going to be there, though. So my question would be,
if he's not, then trade down.
If he's there at 6, would Caleb Downs make sense?
Now, some are saying he's the best player in the draft, and the only reason he won't go number 1 is because he's a safety. And there's.
But that's the one position in the secondary they look at. Maybe you could use a backup corner or 2 because you always need more corners, right? But I mean, like a starting safety that can be the kind of the finishing piece of a defense that's got youth, that's got a mix of veterans and youth that plays really well together.
Yeah.
I mean, and if there's not an offensive player that jumps out until 28, whenever they take that later in the first round or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I mean, he'd be hard to pass up on. Like that kind of player. Yeah, I don't really care about the Ohio State thing. If he played for Alabama, Ohio State, Miami, it wouldn't matter. He's that kind of talent where it's like, if we're not taking a quarterback, if you're not taking a receiver or a lineman at 6, because you don't really value anyone that high, but the possible number 1 player in the draft does fall because the Jets and the Raiders took Moore and Mendoza, and there was a bunch of random other defensive players that went off. Like I don't know. I mean, that's tough for me to pass up on and to trade down away from when he needs hits. He needs to look back at this draft and go, this is 2025 again. This is 2026.
That's what he had last. The thing. The nice thing is Mason Graham hit, so that worked. And then you throw in Carson Schlesinger and all that stuff that happened after all that. Throwing the running backs, everything too. Yeah, he's going to need. No matter where he picks, if it's number 6, if it's 16, if it's 36, he's going to have these guys hit no matter what. And that's kind of the hand he's been dealt right now. I mean, he really has no margin of error, especially when you're starting to talk about those top 4 picks in the first 3 rounds. He's got to hit, I would say, 3, if not 4 of those, out of the park like he just did. And that's where he's at right now. That's, the safety blanket is gone. I mean, Andrew Berry had Kevin Stefanski as a meat shield for this year. He took the hit. That's gone. So now his soft underbelly is exposed. If this thing goes apart, it's him. If the coach doesn't work, it's him. If the draft picks don't work, it's him. If the free agents don't work, it's him.
Yeah, and truly, that's my biggest fear, because out of Andrew Berry's 6 seasons, right, running here with the team, he's had 1 good draft class, and I talked about that last night on Main Event. I've talked about it for weeks. You do the math. I'm not a mathematician, fellas. I'd like to think I'm pretty good at math for the most part, but I'm just going to punch it through the calculator, all right? 1 divided, that's 16%, right? So 16% of his drafts as an overall have been good. That's not good, right?
Hey,
that's
he'd be like hitting 7th for the Guardians right now with that.
That's a different discussion.
If Eli's doing math, we're all in trouble. I don't know.
Yeah,
no,
I got coffee.
That's why I'm okay with it.
I got coffee.
He punched on the calculator. It was quick. Yeah.
Dude, it's been a hectic morning. I tell you, fellas. Who would have thought? This breaks maybe this early, and it's really the first domino of the day, right? I do want to just take a quick moment here. If you are just joining us, thank you for spending your morning with us. Kyle Cornell, Rob Rizicki, Eli Moon. We are all Inside Edge Network talent all across the board. You can catch Kyle on Side Hustle Wrestling Podcast, me and Rob on Main Event. And I produce Papa Moon's podcast, Real Talk with Papa Moon. But, I just want to have a discussion here, because we have some sound from Shedeur Sanders I'm going to go to. But just before I go to Shedeur here, I'll open the floor to both of you. How do you guys feel the overall consensus in the locker room is? Carly Teller just, we see on X, the wife or significant other of Wyatt Teller, offensive lineman for the Browns.
Oh, I love when the wives get involved.
She put, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. And that was around the same time that the news broke about Kevin Stefanski being fired. Now, that's just one. That's not even a play, right? That's a significant other. But where do you think
they were rotating Wyatt in and out the last couple of games. Like, they were playing games with the offensive. I think that's probably why she was pissed.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But where do you think the overall feeling is in the locker room right now? We're going to hear from Shedeur in a moment. But before we kick it, where do you think this is good vibes? Do you think where do you think, if you're a Cleveland Browns player, if you're Shedeur Sanders, one of these young guys, if you're Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, where is your mind at?
I mean, they weren't playing for Kevin the past 3 or 4 weeks. They were playing for Myles, if we're being completely honest about where the Browns were as a team. Kevin it felt like it was time. And, it's not even about him as a coach, because I think he is a really good coach. I just think sometimes you can only go a certain distance with a team. Not everyone's going to be Mike Tomlin with the Steelers. Not everyone's going to be John Harbaugh with the Ravens. Like,
and both those guys are up in the air right now.
Exactly. Tomlin won the division. People are still talking about he may go to TV or something like that. I mean, it's crazy to think about just the timing as far as fit, as far as how far you can pull a team. And I think this team at this point is ready for a new voice. Even if it is Jim Schwartz. Because, again, him and Andrew Berry are, like this. They were in Philly together, all that stuff. So they have
Kyle, if you mind me just interjecting for a moment, but if you're a Browns fan, do you get excited about the fact that Jim Schwartz could be your next head coach? That doesn't rev me up, personally.
Hey, listen, if there's one thing that they've done well the past 4 to 5 years, whatever it's been, or however long Jim Schwartz has been there now, 3 years, 2 years, whatever it's been, right. It's been the defense. That's the one thing that's been consistent, that's been top 5, that's been they've had talent. They've been able to utilize the talent to the best of their ability, and they play well. And the defense has won them games. I.e., prime example yesterday, 2 defensive touchdowns. They just do it. They just play well on that side of the ball. You have to think some of that is coaching. Jim Schwartz is a little bit older. He's got the defensive mindset. He's a leader of men. He has the unfortunate tie-in to be the other 0-16 head coach.
No, that's Rob Marinelli.
Yeah,
was it Marinelli?
It was Marinelli.
We double checked it last night on the air.
Okay, I thought it was
crazy. Him. Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah. That's literally, Kyle. That was one of the big reasons why I was like,
sucks for Rob Marinelli.
And that's why Rob Marinelli is now in witness protection.
Yeah, we haven't heard. Yeah, I heard of Rod Marinelli.
His name is now Bob Fitzgerald, but that's beside the point.
Yeah,
Rod Marinelli, blast from the past. But no, Kyle, I get what you're saying in terms of leading the defense. And Rob, I want to hear your thoughts too about Schwartz and maybe just where your thoughts are on where the Browns go. But I just don't get excited about a defensive coordinator taking the step into head coaching role, because what does that do for the offense? We know you're sound at defense. Just stay rocking what you're doing, depending on who we bring in a coach and what they decide with the staff and everything, but just stay rocking what you're doing. And in my mind, personally, you got to bring in the next offensive mind. You need the next Sean McVay, Ben Johnson. You need somebody like that. It's an offensive.
The thing is where Schwartz is at right now. I got a feeling either he's going to be the head coach of the team next year, or he's going to be off the staff. Like, this is normally how the NFL works. Like, unless somebody comes in and really likes, and I know Schwartz might be one of those guys that is retained, like Dick LeBeau back in the day, North Turner. Like, he's, he knows what he's doing. But the thing is with him as a coach, all the arguments that you're going to make with Stefanski. Hey, he made some mistakes on the first stop. He learned a lot of things. He knows what not to do in the second. You can make the same thing for Schwartz, and you can also say too that he's been an assistant and had time to kind of ferment, and redo that, and be a DC again and kind of get his bearings. But Kevin Stefanski, I mean, he's been unemployed for what? 2 hours and 8 minutes, as we're talking to you right now. So it's not like he's had a whole lot of time to, evaluate and become a better guy and so on and so forth. But I don't mind the idea of Schwartz. Now, to Eli, to go back to your original question on what the locker room's thinking, I think when you were talking about the names involved, that's a lot of what factors in. Myles Garrett, whoever comes in is going to have to work with Myles. Like, he's probably the only guy on the roster that can say that. Like, hey, Hall of Fame track, first ballot, probably best ever, best in my era at my position, so on and so forth. If I'm Shedeur Sanders, I'm working with him. I'm working with the change, the uncertainty for me. I would think, and we've all had jobs where bosses have changed out very suddenly. And when I'm one of those guys and I'm lower on the totem pole, I'm thinking, okay, how is it, is the new guy going to like me? Is the new guy going to respect what I'm doing? Or is he going to want to make a change because he has somebody in mind for this role that has nothing to do with anything I've did, up until now? So there's going to be a lot of questions, I think, from the majority of the roster based on that. And I think a guy like Shedeur, who has been perceived to be in Stefanski's doghouse the first half of the season, it might be a rebirth. It might be kind of a, hey, this guy, whoever comes in knows I'm here, so he's going to be on some level okay with it. So, I mean, I think it depends. I think emotionally, I don't think he was hated any more than any head coach. I don't think he was loved any more than any head coach. I think it's probably these guys are sitting around here going, all right, who's going to be the new boss? Am I going to be here to see it?
Yeah.
I think, am I going to be getting paid by the Browns next year? That's really the question that comes down to it.
It's going to be interesting. And we're going to take a quick pause here for a moment. Kyle, you going to stick around?
Yeah, fuck it. You guys are entertaining enough.
All right, let's stick around. We're going to keep Kyle here with us here. Kyle Cornell, Rob Rosicki, Eli Moon, Inside Edge Network. You see the ticker below, folks. Follow us on TikTok, Twitter, IG, YouTube, and Facebook, Inside Edge Net. We'll be here throughout the day. A programming reminder, Illegal Formation with Chad and TK will be at 2 p.m. So not long after we get off the air here, you'll get to hear from TK and Chad and their reactions as well. We'll probably have some coverage throughout the night, as this is just one of many dominoes to fall on this Monday morning.
On that note, Cincinnati has announced that they're going to retain Zach Taylor and all that stuff.
Shocking.
So right now, it looks like the Steelers and Ravens could be the other two. We don't know what's going to happen with them. I think
Tomlin's safe. Tomlin's safe. Harbaugh,
unless he doesn't want to be. Unless he
he'd have to leave. I think the same is kind of with John too. He may just be tired at this point. He may just say, "Fuck it, I'm done." Lamar's not even backing me up. I'm done.
Or they could trade Lamar. We could. Hey, different show idea though.
No guaranteed ideas, or no guaranteed money.
Kyle, I just saw your friend there jumped on the cat tree.
Yeah, that's Simba. He's the fourth member of the panel.
Love it. Simba, any thoughts?
Real quick before we get out, we do have a couple of YouTube comments here. I do want to acknowledge those guys. Yes. Rahul Havana says Butch Davis has been spotted in Strongsville. So keep an eye on that one. If that actually happened, we had it first, bastards. And then Mick Gogol says, if Kate is there, take him. No questions asked. If not, don't take takedowns. So, kind of. It's going to be. That's the weird thing with no quarterbacks. Is it like it's now almost like you're going into the store and you're just picking up something you might want. It's best bit player available. It's a little fun in that one, even though they still desperately need a quarterback. But yes, all right. That's all I have to say right now.
Okay, I know you're ready to send it to break. I guess I'll take it here.
I almost did, but it's your show.
Hey, this is crazy. I'm usually the one leading my shit too. So have fun, Eli.
Yeah. Right now you got two guys sitting here who are used to sitting in the driver's seat. So yeah, take it for a spin, Moon.
All right, we're going to hear from the current starting quarterback of the Cleveland Browns, Shedeur Sanders. We'll hear more from Kyle, Rob, myself, and the Inside Edge Network. Stay with us through the break. Shedeur Sanders, and then we're back hearing from Jimmy Haslam and more from us.
We just found out a couple seconds ago, but I think it's just overall the mentality, like things gonna happen. That's just how the league is, and moving forward, just focus on what we can improve, individually for the next head coach.
I want to comment on Andrew because I know there's questions out there. Well, why didn't you change both of them, or why didn't you change Andrew and not Kevin? And I would say this: I think Andrew, over the last year, has done a very good job, and I want to go through that because I think it's important to talk about the moves he made to strengthen our team. Okay, I think it began with what I would call a very efficient free agency. We added one player, and that player made a substantial difference in our football team, and that was Malik Collins. And Malik is not only a really good player, he's a really good person who was a leader on our defense, a leader in the defensive line room. Andrew negotiated a trade a week or two before the draft started, in which we added 3 draft picks, 2 last year, a second and a fourth or a fifth, and a first this year, okay? Then I think we had one of the better drafts that we've ever had. I think we added 4 really good football players who were either first team all-rookie or second team all-rookie, and I think Carson has a really good chance to be the NFL Rookie of the Year, defensive Rookie of the Year. I think what's important to understand about our rookies, though, and you all see them, you all know them, they're not only really good players, they're really good people. And they will be the cornerstone with which we'll build and grow and develop this winning team. But I think it would be short-sighted to not just look at free agency, not just look at the draft, but also to look at a couple of other moves Andrew made. We have struggled to have a consistent place kicker here really the whole time we've earned the team. And I guess the way we started this year, you'd say, looks like you're continuing to struggle. Our grandsons were at the game, and we were coming back to Cleveland last night, and I said, Andre Schmidt is a great lesson of when you fail, pick yourself up, persevere, and good things will happen. And the signing of Andre and bringing him on, holding with him that first week when everybody was saying you need to cut him, you need a new kicker, I think we've hopefully solved our place kicking woes for a long time. Quality person, the team believes in him, and we're glad to have him. And then lastly, I think something that's underappreciated was the Tyson Campbell trade. Tyson is, here again, a really good player and a really good person. And I think all you need to know about Tyson is he has been playing with a bad shoulder for several weeks. We're unsure if he's going to be able to play. Got hurt in the first half. He went in, got treatment, came back and tried to play in the second half of a game where we were trying to win our 5th game. It wasn't like we were trying to make the playoffs. I think this year we not only added, and I'm repeating myself on purpose, really good players, but also really good people. And I think that core that Andrew has put together this year will help move us forward. We hope to have similar results this coming year.
All right, and we are back here on the Inside Edge Network. Eli Moon, Robert Zicki, Kyle Cornell. You've seen our faces all across the network. We are here probably for the first time on the Inside Edge Network together. And we're recapping the Cleveland Browns firing head coach Kevin Stefanski, retaining GM Andrew Berry. Before we get into that, because that was a lot from Jimmy Haslam on explaining why keeping Andrew Berry, we do have some breaking news in the NFL, and it comes out of Las Vegas after locking up the number 1 pick in the NFL draft yesterday. Per Adam Schefter's report, and the Las Vegas Raiders have now posted on their Twitter page as well with a statement. The Las Vegas Raiders have fired head coach Pete Carroll. Carroll had signed a 3-year deal 1 year ago. The Raiders finished this season with the NFL's worst record, and now he is out in Las Vegas. The Raiders GM John Spytek and Tom Brady will now be in charge of identifying and hiring the team's next head coach. Before we get into all the Haslam stuff, I just want to address quick take on Pete Carroll out in Vegas. Any thoughts?
My first thought, and I'm watching the first take on this, and I said this on our group chat, is that Cam Newton and Ryan Clark look absolutely fucking ridiculous. But okay, we're just going to move past that. We do have breaking news. I mean, did anybody think this wasn't going to happen? I mean, he's over 70. The team had 3 wins. It didn't look like it had any long-term direction. He was brought in there to stabilize everything. Is anybody surprised?
No, and I think unfortunately for the Browns, another more enticing job just opened up, which was to be expected. I mean, that team has Ashton Genty, Brock Bowers. They need some line, obviously, restructurement.
Pick they have.
Yeah, they have the number one pick. I mean, this screams Kevin Stefanski, honestly, because I think Fernando Mendoza is his quarterback. Very white meat, baby face looking dude who's, to pull a wrestling term, where he's kind of just like bright eyed and bushy tailed. And yes, sir, no, sir, I got you, sir, whatever you need, sir. Like, he's going to be to the book. I'm sure right now Kevin's licking his chops like, I'm going to get calls from Las Vegas and New York to this afternoon. This is going to be great. But, I mean, Vegas, there's holes. Max Crosby, his whole situation is interesting. Is he going to stay? Are they going to trade him? Whatever that's going to be. But offensively, they got a lot of talent over there. Like I said, a couple linemen to just right the ship a little bit and get Genty some more protection, and obviously protect your. We're assuming they're going to take a quarterback. I think that's pretty fair to.
Right.
No offense to Geno Smith, but he's not playing like Seattle Geno Smith. He's playing like New York Jet Geno Smith, so that's not good. So it's about time.
Yeah.
And he needs to kind of relocate again too. He's one of those guys that we're just going to go to 6 teams, and the 6th one will be the one. But I mean, nevertheless, I mean, it's a much more surface level appealing job, not only just because of where it's at, but I mean of who's on the roster, the offensive firepower they have, and again, end of the day, it's Vegas. It's not Cleveland, Ohio. So we're all from Cleveland. We love our city, but we also know that if you're not from Cleveland, you usually don't like it very much. So I mean, that's like, hey, more power to you. But yeah.
Well, and the other thing too, I want to bring up. We talked all last offseason. I'm just confirming one thing in terms of how old Max Crosby is, because we talked 28 years old. Max Crosby is. We talked all last offseason.
Only 28.
Yeah,
I think he's been in the league longer than Brett Favre was.
He's
it's
actually
wild.
Roughly about a month younger than me.
Yeah, I thought he was like 5 years before Myles Garrett. It's like Jerome Ford. I think Jerome Ford's been in the league for like 12 years, and I saw like 2022 he was drafted. I'm like, what the hell?
And he's like 25. Yeah, it's fucking wild.
But my point, guys, is we talked about in Cleveland, right, about Myles Garrett and like the Browns taking care of. Hey, we have a once in a lifetime generational pass rusher with Myles Garrett. We got to take care of him. Now, am I saying Max Crosby's once in a generation? No, because Myles Garrett's
pretty damn good.
Generation. But he's exactly, Kyle, very, very good.
He's Hall of Fame.
Exactly, Rob, and he's stuck with the Raiders through all this turmoil. So I think in the Raiders' mind, and Tom Brady's mind, John Spytek, the GM of the Raiders, they're thinking we got to get this right for Max Crosby because we're going to miss out on his prime. And a pass rusher's prime is one of the most important runs I feel like in an NFL team. We look at different positions, but I feel like pass rusher, quarterback, those are the 2 big ones.
Yeah. Well, and I think with Max more so than Myles, I'm not trying to disparage either one of them, but I think there's also an element too. If we don't get this right for Max Crosby, he might fucking kill me. Literally, I think he was done. Because he has been very intense. Where Myles has definitely voiced his displeasure, Max has been a lot more angry and a lot more outwardly aggressive about this situation too. So, yeah, I mean, and the thing is, though, is this could be a situation, though, and I understand he's under 30 still, but whoever comes into this. And I don't know what the trade deal contract or anything like that. But
oh my God, can you imagine a team like Philly calling the Raiders? They'll give them 2-3 first-round picks for someone like that. They would do the same for Myles.
Walker, Jimmy Johnson, Herschel Walker might have something to say about that. If you're a new head coach coming in and you need that many things, then and again, I don't know how much dead cap money they would be taking with that. I don't know. Thing is, though, if you're paying a bunch of rookies, who gives a shit about the cap at that rate?
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, that might be what the seed that can kind of make that tree grow over there. Who knows? But and again, I'm just speculating. I don't even, again, I'm kind of talking on my butt with that one.
It makes a lot of sense. It does. It makes a lot of sense.
Again, though, with all these jobs, though, there's a reason why they're open. So all these teams do need something for sure, and the Raiders are definitely. Seems like where the Browns kind of stopped firing head coaches 6 years ago for a while, the Raiders have been doing it for a while. I don't even know how many guys they've had since John Gruden. It's got to be 6 or 7 now at this point.
Yeah, it's been pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, that's if I'm Kevin Stefanski, that's what I would be looking at with that job is, all right, am I trading one crazy billionaire for another one? Is Mark Davis any better than Jimmy Haslam right now? So, when you talk about organizational stability, I would say the Giants are probably at the top of that list, probably with the Falcons as a close second. But I mean,
by the way,
you guys to have one circus for another, and at least this one, as you said, is in Vegas, so it's you are expecting to see a show when you show up there. But Yeah. Do you want, it all depends on what shit show you want right now.
So I just want to point out too, by the way, you guys are missing the boat here and being able to change the headlines and stuff on your name titles. Because I am a Saints fan and yesterday was bullshit. So that's why.
I see it now. Go
Yeah.
sleep yourself, ATL.
Yeah. Because
didn't like that result.
No, because you know what? I have a Brandon Whedon 2.0 as my starting quarterback, and he's actually playing halfway decent. So I'm kind of pissed.
Yeah.
I know that we lost that game. Yeah, I didn't know.
He's playing good enough to stick around.
It's fucking bullshit. The fact that we both these teams. I was looking at Cleveland and New Orleans, and I'm like, you know what? Okay, this is going to be just a down year for both teams. It's fine. We're going to pick in the top 5, and then all of a sudden we decided to win some fucking games at the end of the season. So now we're both 7 and 8, just far enough away from possible next quarterback, and just too close to be able to be okay, there's a lineman that could go at 10 that makes sense here or something.
Yeah, it's like where the Bears have lived for the last 10 years of that 8 to 12 range of all right, we can pick up a decent piece, but it isn't going to be anything life changing probably.
Yeah, it's fucking bullshit.
But in fairness, though, Kyle, if Tyler Shuck was a few years younger, you'd be talking about how you have a young, promising quarterback. So I'm
if ands or what's like Mike Tomlin said, if my aunt had male parts, he'd be my uncle.
Yeah, for real. Fellas, we're going to have a lot more dominoes fall. Want to remind everybody tuning in with us, thank you for starting your morning with us. I couldn't have thought of a better way to start. I mean, obviously some daunting news, some bad news in Cleveland. If you're a Stefanski fan, Kevin Stefanski out as the Cleveland Browns
7 of you.
But I'm glad to start my morning with all of you watching, Rob, Kyle, and I want to pivot back here to the Browns here. Reminder, illegal formation at 2 p.m., pretty much right after us. We'll have a little bit of a break so you can grab your lunch and then join those guys right here on the Inside Edge Net. Illegal formation.
It's like watching a little baby bird grow up. Eli just hosting a show. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. 2 p.m. illegal formation after us. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you. I want to kick it to you guys here, okay? We heard about Jimmy Haslam, right?
Kick me. Go ahead.
All right. No, don't worry. I actually have some questions for you off air. Big Monday Night Raw tonight, Kyle. Big Monday Night Raw.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to have my reaction to that tomorrow. So
I'm excited.
Honestly, probably tonight, after the show, because it's such a big show. But yeah.
Make sure you tune in real quick while we're just addressing what all you can see here on the Inside Edge Net. Make sure you tune in. Kyle will give the reaction for you wrestling fans out there. Big Monday Night Raw, first of the year. Now, I will kick it back to the Haslam video that we watched coming back from break, right? That 3-minute clip about Andrew Berry.
That sounded dirty.
I'm going to tell you why I like my man. He made one free agent signing. The defensive tackle that played halfway decent. He's a rock star. We love him.
I expected Dolan's to say that about Antonetti. Hey, we signed the one guy, and it really, really worked.
Oh, my God. We signed the guy in AAA. You haven't seen him yet, but he's going to be amazing for 2 years before we trade him. It's like who gives a fuck, dude?
Let me ask you this. Not to interrupt, Kyle, but let me ask you this, because the one thing that stood out to me the most was Jimmy Haslam kept going back to the point of we have good players, but more importantly, they're good people. And, Rob, it kind of reminds me, we were talking to AA last night.
Do you, though? You have a fucking quarterback who had all the fucking scandals. You don't have good people on the roster.
You're doing what Urban was doing at Florida with Tim Tebow. They were using, here's this dude, and we're just going to forget the Poundsy brothers that are running drugs. We're going to forget about whatever the fuck Aaron Hernandez is doing.
My God. Listen, Tony Grossi's a close friend of my dad and stuff, too. I wanted to, just text him and be like, dude, why don't you tell him, no, half your roster's been convicted of a crime. Quinshawn just got off of beating his fucking girlfriend 6 months ago. What are you talking about?
You've had a draft pick a year. What was it? Michael Hall the year before, Perion Winfrey the year before that.
Right.
Remember Kareem Hunt was donkey kicking people? Yeah.
Dude, here's the thing. What I will say, just to bring it back, because there's a lot to unpack there. Haslam brought up 4 players. I want to bring that up too. He brought up 4 players when he talked about the good players. Obviously, we talk about the years past, Deshaun Watson and other names, right? The off-the-field stuff. But he did bring up 4 players. And I think that's 2 things I want to address there. Because, yeah, we talk about the good player, but is he a good guy? And how much does that matter when it comes to your receiver on your team as long as he stays out of trouble? We talked about that yesterday when it's how much does that matter in the grand scheme of things? I think it matters to a degree. You need good people and good minds in the organization, but not everybody needs to be out there shaking hands with the community. As long as you stay out of trouble and do your thing and you play good football, I think that's what matters the most in terms of if you're not the quarterback or whatever. There's different roles on the team too. But the thing that stands out to me too, fellas, is 4 players that Jimmy Haslam had mentioned. And he mentioned Carson Schlesinger. potential defensive rookie of the year. He mentioned, it talked about, the offensive rookies leading the way, Harold Fannin, Quinshon Judkins, and I imagine they're pretty happy with Mason Graham. One name we didn't hear mentioned in that draft class, two names, technically, if you want to be fair to both quarterbacks.
No, we don't.
Okay, right. But Shedeur Sanders and
Bailey Zappi, all-time leading passer in Western Kentucky history. Come on, what are we talking about?
But all joking aside, where if you're Shedeur Sanders and you're, I know you block out the noise as much as you can, but it's coming from your own organization, and you're not even being mentioned, it sounds like, in the plans. If you're Shedeur Sanders, where's your head at? Like, you can't be feeling good if your owner is mentioning, the owner of the organization is mentioning the draft class and the 4 good players they have and the good people. And Shedeur's name never came up once in a 3-minute clip.
Yeah, well, that's because, too, Eli, they can't do that yet. They have to hire the coach first. And they have to have conversations. If they really like the coach that comes in, but he's not a fan of Shedeur and he wants to go in a different direction, you can't say Shedeur is a bedrock of your team right now. If you hire a guy that you like that is in favor of Shedeur, it's the beauty of having a quarterback who's making $1 million, unlike the backup who's making like 70 next year. But I mean, that's beside the point. Like, this guy, you don't have to be tied to him because he is a 5th-round pick. Dillon Gabriel, he may not be on the roster by the draft. I don't know what they're going to do with him. It's just strange. He's very safe, but also just there's nothing really redeeming of him besides just being apparently smart, which, hey, more power to you. But when Tua Tagovailoa has a better arm in the winter than you do, is obviously a cause for concern. He was missing screen passes that were behind the line of scrimmage. They were so short. And he was throwing the ball 10 yards over his receivers' heads. He was doing all this stuff, and he had first-team reps. It wasn't a lot, but he actually had some reps with the team. There's no way that you can tell me that Dillon Gabriel is anywhere near Shedeur Sanders as far as development and just an overall as a quarterback. There is a huge gap. Huge gap. That's not me saying Shedeur is like the next coming of Christ or anything like that. Praise be our Savior, but that's beside the point. Like, this is it's night and day with that, and Shedeur is in kind of a holding pattern right now. That's what I think Rob mentioned earlier, being able to. He's not like just a guy you throw off that needs to really cater to the next coach, but he does need to have a close relationship with that guy, so he can either figure out what his role is going to be, if he's going to be on this team, if he gets traded, whatever it is, because like he is a pillar possibly in the future of Cleveland. He is the current starting quarterback of this team, and it does matter what his input is, and I'd imagine. Maybe there is a call. I'm not saying it's going to be, on everyone's front of their mind, but maybe there is a call down to Boulder to talk to Dion about how he feels about this. I mean, Shedeur has played really well under him. He listens to him. He respects him, obviously. It's his dad. And it's not like he's a scrub. It's not like he's just some random coach that doesn't know what he's doing. If they sweeten the pot enough, I think it's a 3% chance of happening, but if they do fully think that Shedeur is the guy, I think that obviously increases that possibility where you at least give him a call and see where his head's at. Because Andrew Berry liked him. They had the dead air and all that stuff. I mean, it was,
Well, I think the one thing that we can all establish, no matter what your opinion on Shedeur is that he played better than a 5th-round pick.
Oh, yeah.
He is definitely better than what his draft position was. So maybe if there is a trade market for something along that line, you do have it. I just hope for Shedeur's sake, for the team's sake, for the new head coach's sake, whatever they decide, it's going to be quick. If you're not going to use him long term, if you don't plan on him being around in the future, you don't need to put him through the rigmarole of a training camp battle, of an offseason here and all this other stuff, and just clean break and I think that's where this head coaching decision is going to be made. If it is Schwartz, you're going to have the questions of, okay, are the old things going to continue into the future? If it's somebody new, you will have a chance, and Andrew Berry sticking around ain't going to help it, but you are going to have a chance to kind of break from the old way of Kevin Stefanski doing things and get rid of some people that you want to get rid of just for the sake of change. So I just hope it's quick. But I think, Shedeur, he did everything he could do in the last 7 starts of the season. I know the numbers didn't look great. He did have great moments. He did lead that 2-minute drive to seal up the game-winning field goal. So, I mean, he's had his moments. He's looked like an NFL quarterback at times. I think I think he's done everything he can, but is the person coming in going to give a shit? That's the question.
Yeah. That's a
Yeah.
big what if too. Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's going to be a lot of questions. Quarterback, coach, what they do with those 2 first-round draft picks. I mean, that's a whole different discussion. But yeah, man, here's what we're going to do, fellas. I think we're going to take one more pause for the cause. I think we're going to come back. We're going to put a bow on this thing. I think we're going to kind of give our final thoughts. We'll see if some breaking news hits during the break. For
Will I
everybody out
change
there-
my name again? You never know.
Yeah, right now I'm Ron Burgundy. Get it?
I'm having fun with this. You guys are too serious.
Look, man. But all right, thank you.
It's like
guys.
someone lost their
And
job
the
today.
first
What are you
day we
talking
did
about?
it and haven't looked back since.
Dude. Now I will say this. Thank you to everybody tuning in. I want to continue to thank you. You're filing in this morning. It is 11:40 in the morning, so don't feel guilty if you get a third cup of coffee with me. Let's rock and
God
roll.
damn, Eli.
I get ready to go. But
Bob's eating lunch and you're over there fucking pounding coffee, bro.
in fairness, I'll probably make a sandwich here after the show. But
That's fair.
with that being said, I want to remind everybody, a legal formation 2 p.m. So not long after we wrap up, we'll probably put a bow on this thing around a little bit after noon, and then they'll get on at 2 p.m. And then stay tuned. We might have some night coverage as more news breaks here on the Inside Edge Network. Follow us at Inside Edge Net on TikTok, Twitter, IG, YouTube, and Facebook. And yeah, as we keep mentioning, the Browns move on from Kevin Stefanski as head coach. They keep and retain Andrew Berea, the general manager, to make the decisions going into the offseason. We're going to come back. We're going to put a bow on this thing, go over some other news. As we mentioned in Vegas, Pete Carroll out. We'll talk about that, put a bow on this thing. Kyle Cornell, Rob Ruzicki, Eli Moon. This is the Inside Edge Network. Good morning.
so much love and respect for Coach Schwartz. I would highly recommend Coach Schwartz for a head coaching job here. Definitely, like I said, Coach Schwartz, he's a great coach. He's helped my game tremendously. Puts us in great position, great leader, and I can't say enough great things about him. But I think he's a guy that when who you want in a coach and somebody to lead a team, and I know he's a guy. He's a great guy.
All right, we're back. Eli Moon, Rob Rizicki, Kyle Cornell, Inside Edge Network. That was Denzel Ward giving high praise, fellas, to the current defensive coordinator of the Cleveland Browns and potential head coaching candidate, Jim Schwartz. Just a raving, a great review, nothing but great things to say. That's something you would want on your resume if you're a head coach. Hey, the guys approve of me too, so what do we talked a little bit about Schwartz, but does it seem like, especially after that Denzel Ward comments, hearing that this is like more of a possibility that maybe people in Cleveland around the league are entertaining? I mean, it just seems like
I mean, Denzel's opinion, I think if anybody other than Miles has an opinion that matters, is probably Denzel. So it isn't, even Schlesinger or any of the younger guys kind of going up and saying, hey, yeah, this is where we want it to go. So I'm sure they would, if they talk about how exhausted this process is going to be, they're going to talk to their team leaders. They're going to talk to their captains on both sides of the ball. I'm sure the defense would love to see their guy promoted. I mean, that's just kind of a natural instinct there. But he does, if he wasn't the sitting DC, if he was the defensive coordinator for the Titans or for the Eagles or for whoever, he would be a head coaching candidate. So I can see why people, he would be. I mean, like if he had this kind of defense.
He isn't now?
What's up?
He isn't now. Like I think he's gonna be one of the names people call about.
But that's what I'm. I'm saying for the Browns. I think
he still is for Cleveland too. I think he's very much in the running.
That's why. That's why, because it's not Freddie Kitchens. Yeah. It's not just them just trying to push somebody up because the guys like him and he's just a good dude. This is a bona fide NFL coordinator and with head coaching experience in his own right, and he has done very well at his job the last 3 years. So he would be a head coaching candidate otherwise. So I would think he would have to be a head coaching candidate now. That was my point.
Yeah. Well, that's Rob. You hit the nail on the head with that. I think he'll be heavily considered for this job. And then if you hire someone with a defensive background, it gives you the option then to work with if it's, let's say it's Jim Schwartz. Is Tommy Rees really the offensive mind you want? I think of someone like, McDaniels, obviously over in New England. I look at Brian Dable. He's out there as a possible OC candidate.
Here.
I mean, he worked with Josh Allen. He made him very good. It got Dable a damn head coaching job in New York for a couple of years there. And he didn't do too bad at the start. And obviously things went the way they did. But he has a knack for talent. He's the one that wanted to take Jackson Dart in the first round, and that guy's going to be their franchise quarterback possibly.
And you can make the argument with Dable that he was a victim of a bad GM that kept the wrong player. They kept Daniel Jones instead of Saquon. And we all see how that went.
So, I mean, if he's out there and you don't believe in Tommy Rees, you could take Schwartz, promote him to head coach, and he'll still run the defense because that's his thing. And then you have kind of open season to say, okay, who can we take that maybe makes the most sense to get the most out of Shedeur? Because where we're drafting, we don't really feel like we're going to have an opportunity to get one of those two quarterbacks. I don't think Ty Simpson's going to be someone they're really looking at too closely. I still heavily believe in Drew Aller. I've seen a bunch of quarterbacks play live from high school to college to pros. He's probably top 3 for me as far as just how dominant he is. And he's, again, the 6'5" frame, 235. His ceiling for me is Big Ben. I think Rob will like that a lot. But the way he plays,
not
how he just well, hey, you never know. He may not have a choice. If he got drafted by Cleveland and had to go through the ringer, he'd have to be taking a lot of hits and shit. So he'd probably be going through it a little bit. But I mean, Ben could take punishment.
I want to see a good quarterback here for 20 years.
No, I think the fact that Penn State had their whole down season and kind of he was in a weird spot too. The offense never really felt like it was tailored to him. He
And he
gives
got
me
injured.
And he got
yeah,
hurt.
and he got hurt, which didn't help anything either. He was playing through a lot of shit too, and the line wasn't that good out there. He had 2 really good running backs, but the receiver core never was really that good. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I still think he could be, possibly a top 5 quarterback in the league one day. He just has that kind of presence, the arm, everything you want, and he'll be a
Yeah.
steal for somebody. But
Yeah.
who takes that? Schwartz, you could do that. Go for an offensive mind to run the offense if you don't like Tommy Rees. Or honestly, look, they went 3-4 with Shedeur Sanders as their starting quarterback. Say what you will about whatever 1-6, 1-5 with Dylan Gabriel, 3-4 with Shedeur, and honestly, they could have went probably 5-2 with Shedeur at the end of the day. A couple of those losses were nail-biting close ones. The Bills' loss was just tough. He was pinned all the way back. I'm not making excuses for him, but it's just one of those things where that was just a tough thing to ask against that kind of team. And the Titans loss, that was on Stefanski. It's one of the reasons why he's got fired today. So they theoretically could have won 5-2 with Shedeur, and this conversation is very different because then who cares what his stat line is? If the dude's going to win games, that's all Browns fans honestly really should care about. This is not the team, I don't think ever, that's going to have the guy that throws for 45 touchdowns and 4,000 yards. Just like Chicago. Caleb Williams is the closest they're ever going to get to that. I think he maybe just got the 4,000 yards.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, 58 yards.
Oh, 58.
So he was right there. That's about as close as they're going to it's just the way these cities are and stuff too. Maybe when the dome comes, things will change for the Browns. But in the meantime, just the weather, the stuff you have to play through in the next 3 to 4 years, you're not going to get that kind. Matthew Stafford is not walking through the door throwing for 5,000 yards in Cleveland. No one's doing that shit. You need to win football games. And he put them in the best possible position of any of the quarterbacks that took the field this year to win games.
The one thing, and I don't know how much is going to factor into what's happening right now, but you're not going to have somebody come in here and roll out 5,000 yards and 40 tutties right now. Remember where they're moving in a couple of years. They're going to be
dome is big,
and they're going to be. So that's going to change. And I don't know how far that is away and if that's going to factor into decision-making, into who's going to be the quarterback and who's not going to be the quarterback. The one thing I will say with Schwartz, and keep an eye on this, I have no sort of inside info, is just history and feeling here. When he had some health problems a few years back, remember, after the Lions and everything like that, they brought him back in the league. The job that he had was kind of a part-time advisor, coordinator, whatever, with Titans. And he's had some history there. They like him there. And honestly, if I'm Tennessee, he's about as close to Mike Vrabel right now of all the guys that are open than maybe anybody. So, that might be something to keep an eye on for the Browns. To Kyle's point, may not be the only team talking to Jim Schwartz this offseason for a promotion. So,
if he wants the challenge, because he's got to rebuild that defense down there in Tennessee, it's pretty bad.
He knows how to rebuild the defense. We know he knows how to rebuild the defense. Now, the offensive side would be the question. How would he handle Cam Ward? How would he handle rebuilding that off? Because they need skill players all over the board. They got Tony Pollard and 3 other guys.
If I'm Schwartz, I'm hitching my wagon to one of those, like the Clint Kubiaks or the Daybulls or whoever. I'm hitching my wagon to, I'm coming with this dude because he's the offensive mind. He's going to get the quarterback right. He'll pull Cam Ward into the future. He'll pull whoever into the future. And I'll be able to, exactly, that kind of thing where it's he's my guy that's going to, for the next 2 years, before he gets a head coaching job opportunity again, he'll be the one that puts us on the right track on that side. I'll take care of the defense. Don't worry about that. Look what I did in Cleveland, all that shit.
Yeah. I will say this, guys. You bring up a really good point with Jim Schwartz. My mind just keeps thinking if I were in this position, if I had the decision for the next head coach, who would I choose? 2 names stand out to me. Seattle Seahawks offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak and the Buffalo Bills offensive coordinator Joe Brady. Clint Kubiak is leading a crazy run right now in Seattle with that offense. You watch them against San Fran the other night. They are just tearing defenses up and having their way. It doesn't matter if they're running the ball, passing the ball. It doesn't matter. They are looking super, super good on offense. And then you look at Joe Brady. The track history's there, right? People credit him for helping with Joe Burrow, right, at LSU. They do credit, some of his success to Joe Brady in terms of working with him. Now he's in Buffalo, and you can't say he necessarily made Josh Allen but he's definitely not hurt Josh Allen. They've continued to win games, be productive
No,
offensively.
the Bills hurt Josh Allen themselves.
Yeah. So, but those would be the top, just off the top of my head. And we're going to have weeks and weeks to talk about here about the Browns head coaching search, right? Because I don't think this is going to be a 1-2 week search. I think this is going to see what's all out there before they make this move. But if you asked Eli Moon, who this should be the new coach, Clint Kubiak or Joe Brady, offensive mind, because that's where the league's heading. Not saying defense isn't important, but the league for the last 5-10 years has been offensive minded. We just watched a 42-38 San Fran Chicago game. We just watched, typically, Rob, a Baltimore Steelers game for the division or whatever, just a gritty game in December, January, is like 17-14, 14-10, just gritty. I mean, those teams were in the high, almost at 30 points. So just saying it's an offensive minded league. And if you want to progress Shedeur Sanders, you want to take advantage of Harold Fannin and Quinshon Judkins and the ability before they get in their prime to take advantage and have success, then you got to get somebody in here who's going to progress the offense. And I think that's what you do.
And Detroit's kind of a good example of it right now. You want, ideally, I think, and if a defensive dude's the best candidate, then go with him. But I don't think it should be the deal breaker. But ideally, you do want an offensive mind because he won't leave for that head coaching gig. He won't get promoted. Dan Campbell isn't quite Dan Campbell without Ben Johnson. He's now, obviously in Chicago doing his thing. They did take in consistency with that offense. They took a step back. They did. It looked like a different offense. So,
their offensive line was injured too. But yeah, I get that.
Detroit's always been injured for like 5 years. Frank
Well,
Ragnow.
last year they weren't. It showed 15-2 last year. But I mean, yeah, this year they
that might have been the coordinators and the scheming. That might have been
that helps.
You look at what Kansas City's doing. Andy Reid is I know we were trying to promote Eric Bieniemy for a long time. Matt Nagy was in there too. It's Eric. It's Andy Reid that runs that offense and the philosophies, and maybe he might not call. He does call plays, but he runs the whole thing. He does. He's not going to go get a head coaching gig in Oakland or in Vegas now. He's there, so you do want to stay with, maybe if you can, an offensive minded dude. But if you talk to 7-8 guys and Jim Schwartz is your best option, that should not be a reason to, the fact that he's a defensive coach should not be the reason to get, to move on to somebody else.
Yeah.
I still think my two guys, though, by the way, just to throw them out there, because Eli gave us two names. I think Schwartz is one, but I think the other one has to be considered as Brian Flores. I just think the ability to lead the team in a way that is the message is going to stick. And, you had a guy that was very just kind of monotone, even keel. Yeah. He started cracking jokes the last 2 weeks in press conferences, and half of Cleveland media had an aneurysm. They were just like, what's going on? Why is he all of a sudden a personality? Brian Flores, he's also not going to take shit from Andrew Berry and probably from Jimmy Haslam either.
By low of that, yeah.
Exactly. He's not going to take shit from people. And you know what? There's a little bit of toughness you need to have this job because it is the Browns. We're not talking about going to Vegas and the Raiders and Tom Brady's your owner and all this shit. Like, no, this is different. Like, this people are pissed right now. They want stability and they want someone that's going to deliver in this job finally. And you know what? I mean, he's got that kind of ability as a leader of men. And I think if you're going to go strictly off of that and then obviously work around the pieces as far as who runs the defense, offense afterwards, he'd have to be someone I would seriously consider.
Well, and the other thing I guess to keep an eye on too is the fallout of that Sunday night game with the Ravens and the Steelers. I don't know if it seems so weird to me that either one of those guys would leave because, I mean, they got their job when I had a full head of hair. I mean, it's been a long, long time for both of those dudes. But if Tomlin or Harbaugh leave, you're going to have to definitely look at one, if not both, whoever of those guys. But I don't put those as a realistic option yet. If you're you threw in Brian Flores, Mike McDaniel was mentioned. I think it looks like he's going to keep his job.
Yeah, I don't think he's.
What about Mike McCarthy? You want to go 12-4 3 straight years and not do much else?
I think Browns fans will take 12-4 3 straight years.
That's what I'm saying here. Like, do you want to hire a coach right now
to run the offense? I would take Mike McCarthy.
I just personally, guys, and this is my thought, and then I'm we have a question from our program director and friend.
Fuck him. Who cares what he has to say?
Oh, wow. Okay. So, real quick, I'll say this. Just my mind thinking, I hear what we're all saying about, like, yes, I agree with you, Kyle, in terms of, like, we need somebody that's going to be the voice of the team. When it comes down to, they're not going to walk over this guy. No, the buck stops here. Like, you're not.
How about answering questions in the media? How about actually,
we do have some breaking news, gentlemen. We do have some breaking news.
Who else lost their job today?
The Cardinals are going to be looking for a head coach. Jonathan Gannon is gone.
Another
Pat McAfee show right about now. I am double checking all the details on this stuff. Not for nothing, too. We have Skip Bayless going absolutely happy, crazy about. But yeah, it looks like Jonathan Gannon is gone from the Arizona. I know he had that high-profile shoving match. With his running back, mid-season here.
Mercado, Mercado after he was struggling there, and we just talked about it. Actually, this is the news broke. It actually a perfect time to segue it together. There's a difference between leader of men and somebody that's just talented enough to know how to coach a job. At the end of the day, you need both. You need somebody that's going to be able to put the team in position to win football games and then keep that consistency. That's what we keep. That's like the word of the day: consistency. If they're not going to have consistency, then we have nothing. And it starts with somebody that's going to have the locker room's pulse and understand that, like, hey, if there's something up, it's not getting out to the media. It's not getting out to, outside sources, because that's been a conversation too, where all this stuff leaks out. And where is it leaking out from, right? So I think if you just find a leader of men, I'm leaning towards what Kyle was saying, then I think it makes sense. But my brain just said, you got to get the next offensive mind too.
You can get both. You can get both. I mean, hey.
Who's to say Kubiak or Joe Brady isn't a leader?
Who's that? Right? Who's the Shula kid? That's like the grandson of Don Shula or whatever it is. He's been getting a lot of
that being said, a pretty good offensive coordinator in his own right just hit the market when the Cardinals announced what their plans are going to be doing. Who's also a local kid. I think Gannon is a local boy from this area. So I mean, yeah. Do you say, okay, Schwartz, you take over the team, and then we bring on this dude who did pretty well with the Eagles when he was running that shop over there. So, we don't know.
The possibilities are endless.
This is
it's crazy.
These are developing stories. By the way, too, did you guys, and I know you were using a little bit of CBS Sportsnet and Pete Prisco a little bit before in the show. This is something to keep an eye on, too, as the days keep moving after the firing here and before the hiring of the new guy. The media leaks, Kyle, you talked about it right now. The media leaks that are coming out. Pete Prisco is saying, quote, "From what I'm told, Kevin Stefanski did not want the Watson trade." So one of the three decision makers is no longer with the team. Haslam ain't going anywhere. Barry's still there. But Kevin Stefanski is no longer shackled by employee loyalty right now. If he wants to talk, either through reporters or himself, he is going to. And I think we might be able to get some answers on what the hell happened around that trade.
And I think he's too much. Sorry, Eli, I had to cut you off there for a second. Go ahead. I feel like I have to address that too, because Kevin's not that kind of person, I don't think.
Well, that's
a reason why
he's a reporter. That's why he's a reporter.
Yeah, he had that job in Minnesota for as long as he did because he didn't snitch, and he made sure he was a good company guy. And I assume, especially because he put out the statement and he had all the stuff here, like he's moving on to whatever the next thing is, and he's going to give that everything, and he's probably going to be successful wherever he's at because he's that kind of person. This was just, and the situation too, and obviously you can go into Deshaun for an hour and a half about why it was good or why it wasn't or whatever. At the time, hindsight being 2020, of course, bad move, right? One of the worst moves ever in the history of NFL. At the time, the guy was considered a top 3 quarterback. If we're being truly honest, coming off leading the league in touchdowns and yards.
Atlanta wanted him.
Yes, my team wanted him. The Saints wanted him.
But in fairness, too. But in fairness, if you're just looking back, Kyle, I hear what you're saying, but also in fairness, he was also had not played in a substantial amount of time.
Well, there was baggage there,
marks. Correct. So I get what you're saying, but there's also a ton of question marks. It actually leads me into the question Double A had wanted me to present here, since he is not on assignment. He's just not able to get joined here at the moment.
He's just working.
I'll hear from him later. Yeah. But I'm going to present this question from Double A Anthony Alford here, and he asked, it kind of ties into what we just brought up. How do the Browns explain Andrew Berry staying if he's responsible for the Deshaun Watson trade?
He drafts good people.
But he does 1 year of it though. 1 year.
Not even good players; they're just good people.
Oh yeah. You got.
I think that's what the actions have shown me, is that Jimmy Haslam was the one that flipped the switch on this one, because if it was either one of the other two, we would not be talking about firings in 2026. We'd be talking about them in 2024. So the one guy who made the decision on that is the one guy that has no accountability. So here we go. At least that's what the actions have shown me. We can talk about lip service. We can talk about whose side of the story is what, but in reality, is there a world where that trade happens 2 years later? It was what it was, and the person who wanted to have it happen doesn't get fired? Like, that is a fireable offense 7 days a week in pro sports. So that's what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
Well, Andrew Berry's talking at 12:30, so I mean he's going to have an opportunity to explain why he thinks he still has a job, because I'm curious. You can't go 1 for 6 on drafts and have your coach essentially save 2 of your seasons.
Well, the thing is,
and keep it. I don't understand.
We got into this last night a little bit. If we want to go with recency bias, and Kevin Stefanski is not getting fired because he won Coach of the Year twice. He's getting fired because he won 8 games in 2 years, the last 2 years. That's why he's getting fired. The recency bias. If you look at and take that same recency bias to Andrew Berry, he's in. So, like, if you're really just looking at the last year and a half and you're judging everybody equally, yeah, Kevin Stefanski would be the one to go. So,
last 2.5 years. I mean, it's ever since that trade, this is what's happened. This is when the team started. The Baker shut happened, and Baker had to go to 3 different teams to finally figure himself out. But that's fine. But like, this is on Andrew Berry and Jimmy Haslam. If it's true, and Kevin didn't want Deshaun Watson, because why would he? Like, again, at the end of the day, he wants a guy he can control, and he wasn't going to control Baker or Deshaun, so he probably didn't want either one of them, to be honest with you.
Well, I think he had a better chance of getting Baker in line. Baker was a younger player; he had less street cred. I think he
was getting his PP touched behind the Cheesecake Factory, not the massage parlor, right? Everyone forgets that, by the way. Like, he had all this shit come out about the Cheesecake Factory, and people just never bring it up anymore. It's hilarious. Yeah, like, I just don't understand.
It's Tampa Bay's problem now, Kyle.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he said the Tampa Cheesecake Factory,
and they're on the just like.
Well, he didn't make the playoffs this year, so let's see what comes out.
Yeah. No. Now I'll ask this, guys. First off, want to say thanks for taking the time to speak with me here this morning and join me to break this down here for everybody tuning in. And thanks to all of you out there tuning in. I have one more question here. A reminder before I get to that question: 2 p.m. here on the Inside Edge Network. We have Illegal Formation with Chad and TK, Chad Bryan and TK Dandridge. They are going to be going over kind of what we covered, but just in their own words, their own views. And as more news breaks, they'll continue. So continue Browns coverage, continue NFL Black Monday coverage, right? That's what they call it here. Coaches are going to be fired. We're going to see what happens. But
you just got canceled.
Huh? Oh, no. And with that being said, I got a final question here for everybody. 2 of you. I guess everybody. 2 of you. All right. So final question.
And for you at home, though, who are watching, ponder this. This is going to be the question that changes your life. Go ahead, Eli.
We talked about a lot of names, right? What about Bill Belichick?
No. Let's not do a Pete Carroll in Vegas, please.
Why
I don't
not
want
Pete
to
Carroll?
here.
Like,
no,
that's the case. I mean, if we're going to go with Belichick, what the fuck's Brian Billick doing right now? Like, Bill Cowher, what's he up to?
Make it the holy trifecta. Yeah, they could all run different spots. That way, our average age of our
younger than Belichick, actually.
He probably is, honestly.
And doesn't have a 24-year-old girlfriend who's distracting the shit out of everything.
Oh, hey, I'm not going to blame him for getting after it,
and we talked a lot last night about one of the reasons why maybe, Barry's sticking around now and Stefanski did stick around for so long was that on some level, they're good employees. They're good guys or again, good people. We heard that 3,000 times today. Mm. And, in a way, and I think this is a little bit of a Jerry Jones school of thought. These guys will do what they're told. they'll trade for Deshaun Watson. They'll do what they'll draft Shedeur Sanders. They're very good, just kind of, good guys and, want the, everything to kind of keep flowing right. Bill Belichick is not that guy. Bill Belichick will be cantankerous as a hobby. He'll just do that for fun. And, and if he's going to treat the media like that, and if I'm Bill Belichick and I'm working for Jimmy Haslam, this schmuck of an owner, and he walks in and tries to tell me what's going to happen, I'm just going to put up fingers and I'm just going to start counting rings in front of him and say, okay, that's why we're going to do what we want to do. Fuck off, please. Or fire.
Isn't that what we? But I'm just saying, and I'm not saying that's my pick. I already named the two I would go for, right? If I was the Browns, Kubiak and Brady. I'm just saying, to your point, Rob, Bill Belichick would be the most experienced coach the Browns have ever had. He has the Super Bowl rings, and I just think it's worth at least having a conversation and having him in Berea to at least see what it's worth. Am I saying
would rather
hire
have
him?
Mike McCarthy in, because
everything
you said about Belichick, you could say about Mike McCarthy. He has a ring at least. He has one in the league, and he has a lot of experience.
And he took a year off, which I think has been beneficial for a lot of coaches. Hey, time to breathe a little bit before you jump back in.
He had kind of a sabbatical between Green Bay and Dallas too. He kind of reinvented himself as an offensive mind in that time. So I wouldn't put it far. But again, neither one of them are at the top of my list. But I'd rather have Mike McCarthy than Bill Belichick.
Yeah. I just figured I'd ask it. We got to entertain all names.
Maybe Pete Carroll.
We got to entertain all names. It's first time in 6 years we're on the market. We're single again. The Browns are single. We got to go look for a new coach.
That's why this is so weird. We got used to Freddie Kitchens going in a year and a year and done. Romeo Cornell. Or not even Romeo Cornell. Who am I thinking?
He had big 3 seasons.
Romeo was.
I think he was the longest tenured coach before.
I just itched my bald head. Mike Pettin for 2 years. We were getting pretty good about having these kind of shows every 24 months or so. But 6 years now. This is going to be hopefully they'll be able to get this right. Hopefully they'll be able to do what the Steelers do when they hire a head coach. They make sure they don't have to hire one for the next 20 years.
Yep.
My hope is that for the Browns fans, because obviously I don't openly root for the Browns. You guys know I'm a Saints fan. I have my own shit with Kellen Moore.
I met you on this show and you're a Saints fan. Okay.
Yeah, but nevertheless, my hope for the Browns and for the fan base is that they hire a head coach and not a coordinator. I hope they hire someone who's going to be the guy and not someone who is probably better off, running an offense or a defense somewhere else on a winning team.
Yeah. Do we trust them to do that?
No, but that's the thing. Honestly, the sad part about Jimmy is if he didn't spend his money, then you could really hate him. But he's half funded a new stadium for the.
Oh, whoever's going to be the head coach is going to be very handsomely paid for this job.
But my point, with Jimmy, is you can't you can't hate him completely. Because at least he does put money into the team, unlike other certain owners in Cleveland of certain teams that have pissed off multiple people on this.
And we'll go on this a little bit for a second. What would you rather have? A team that spends a shitload of money and doesn't win, or a team that spends no money and wins a lot?
Sounds like maybe the argument about the Guardians is not spending enough money needs to die now because they still win anyway. So everyone should just shut the fuck up about that. Right? Oh my God, it's crazy. Money isn't everything.
Right now,
we don't
truly are.
If we want to talk Guardians, we'll have to set aside another 3 hours. All right, listen.
No, we don't. I don't want to do that.
Okay, you stick to the wrestling. All right, buddy. No, but listen, I want to open the floor here. We've gone about 2.5 hours, broke down everything here. Reminder: the network will take a pause to go listen to Andrew Berry discuss, as Kyle mentioned earlier, 12:30. General Manager of the Cleveland Browns, Andrew Berry, speaking with the media. 2:00 p.m. on the Inside Edge Network. You can stay here and rock out with Chad Bryan and TK Dandridge of Illegal Formation. They will be going over all the NFL news as we see what changes here. I want to open the floor one more time here. Any final thoughts? It could be about the Cleveland Browns situation. It could be about any of the news that broke. It could just be about how your weekend was, fellas. Because I haven't, I saw Rob yesterday, but Kyle, I haven't seen you in a little bit in person. So, how are we doing? What are our final thoughts?
Fuck Atlanta. That's my final thoughts. This is bullshit. If we were going to commit to winning games at the end of the year, we should have won that fucking game. It's bullshit. You know what, Rico? If you're watching this too, Rico, you can eat a dick, all right? Because you know what? Fuck your Falcons, all right, man? That's all I got to say.
Very, very New Year of you. Very New Year.
Yeah, new year, new me. I'm not giving a fuck anymore. You thought I was unhinged before. Watch the Side Hustle Wrestling podcast because I'm going off every week. Not even just on wrestling. I may come after you. Leave your name in
Me?
the comments. I'll roast the
I was
fuck
like,
out of you.
Not me, man. Not me. Easy, buddy. All
No,
right,
not
well,
you, Eli. You're fine. Yeah, you're.
thank
Yeah,
you.
like, yeah, all the wrestling I'm watching right now is Stan Hansen and Dick the Bruiser, and actually I watched a Roddy Piper highlight reel the other day.
When you're done dusting off the VHSs, come watch new wrestling. It's gonna be fun tonight.
I mean, I'll watch you guys. That's fun, but yeah, I don't want to watch any of the actual wrestling. That's just ugh.
And before
But Raw's doing Stranger Things tonight. It's gonna be great. Vecna's gonna show up and kill everyone in the arena.
wait, is that really a thing going on?
No.
Who knows?
Okay, I was
Well,
like,
yeah, it is. I mean, it's a partnership. They're doing a combined show. It's Netflix, so they're gonna make
Okay.
Stranger Things huge as fuck. But
All
yeah.
right, all right. And then
Yeah.
before we get to Rob's final thoughts here, like Kyle said, Side Hustle Podcast on the Inside Edge Network. His Raw reacts tonight. I'm excited. Kyle, Braun Breaker, CM Punk, World Heavyweight Championship.
I want to
All
see
gonna
what
be unleashed.
I want to see how much blood Chris Jericho sucks out of the show when he shows up tonight. I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be great. What youthful talent is he going to attach like a leech and suck dry like he's a porn star? I can't wait to watch.
Well, you know what? They may have just made the list. All right, Rob, go ahead.
I hope not.
Yeah, I think Wild Bill Longson made his list. He's been around that long, but yeah, yeah, I can't believe Chris Jericho's still relevant right now in wrestling. It is what it is, but that's one of the reasons why I'm just kind of rolling my eyes at it. Let's see. Final thoughts with this whole head coach. I mean, we got 6 teams right now ready to go. It's kind of ironic, and I'm not trying to say Stefanski should have stayed, but it's kind of ironic for the other 5 teams right now that the guy that the Browns just fired is probably going to be pretty high on their list. He is going to be a sought-after candidate, and I think it's just going to be. We haven't done this in 6 years. I think the one thing I do agree with Jimmy Haslam on, and I don't agree with him on much. The next 120 days are going to be very important for this team. And the first decision that's going to be made is going to be who's the head coach. And then we'll see how that's going to affect Shador and the rest of the offense and how Miles is going to feel about that and what changes are going to be made. Because with a head coach change, there will be changes made. Will they be good? Will they be bad? I think we know where we're kind of expecting right now with the last 25 years. But we'll see. I think Jimmy Haslam did a pretty good job of generating some hope right now where there really was none. And the other thing, too, that the other head coach that we did not bring up, they're going to have a decision to make, speaking of changes, on what to do with number 4. He is still on the roster. And how much leeway is he going to have with this play? This might be a dude. Keep in mind that a head coach could come on in and said, I can fix that son of a bitch. That's not out of the question. Now, we all know how much of a fool's errand that could be, but we have just seen with the last head coach, ego is a thing, and placating that ego is definitely a thing. But watch what's going to happen with the Browns. It looks like Andrew Berry's in now. It's up to him. It's his show. He has the keys. If this car breaks down, it's on him. It doesn't matter why. If it's a bad tire, the engine goes, it doesn't matter. It's going to be on him. So either way, I told Eli this before. 12 months from now, we're talking about the Browns being a surprise team, a playoff team right now, or we're talking about a new head coach, a new GM, and a complete house cleaning, and Myles Garrett possibly being traded. Like that's where they put themselves now. It's shit or get off the pot. You got to make all these hires right, and if you don't, everybody's gone.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I have Double A giving his final thoughts. He says, if Kevin Stefanski were to look at the Las Vegas Raiders, they do play the Cleveland Browns next season, so we could see a potential matchup. A lot of speculation. Going to be a long off season. I want to thank both of you for rocking with me, and I want to thank all of you out there across all the platforms on social media for rocking with us. Reminder, tune in on the Inside Edge Net. If you're not with us right now, well, shoot, you should be with us because you're listening. If you got a friend that needs to hear about the latest NFL news or anything wrestling related or entertainment wise or just life, tell them to get to the Inside Edge Network, right? At Inside Edge Net across all the social media platforms. Again, Kyle does a great job with Double A on Side Hustle Wrestling Podcast. You can tune in weekly with them, get his Raw Reacts tonight from Monday Night Raw. You're going to get Rob Rizicki and myself on Main Event with Double A Anthony Alford as well. He's a popular guy. And then I produce...
You should get a wife.
And then I produce Real Talk with Papa Moon, which is on the weekends as well, on Saturdays. So we got a lot of great stuff, is what I'm saying. So stay locked in. Even today, we're going to listen to Andrew Berry. We're going to take a pause. I'll go grab lunch since we've been at it all morning. And we're going to listen to Andrew Berea, the general manager of the Cleveland Browns, his first words after surviving the 2025 season.
Yes, the tribe has spoken. Yes.
Yes. For Kyle Cornell, Rob Rizicki, I am Eli Moon. This is the Inside Edge Network. Make sure to stay locked in here today, 2 p.m., A Legal Formation with Chad Bryan and TK Dandridge. Until then, stay safe. Go get something caffeinated to drink.
And fuck the Falcons.
Steelers undefeated on Monday night at home.
Talk to y'all later.